Lock in. I need you to lock in. We are about to talk some football. We are about to talk some formations. And the answer is in your hands. Which one out of these 3 full setups do you feel like is best for Allegri to deploy in 8-9 days in the Royal Rumble of Milan versus Bologna, also known as Rabiot versus Jonathan Rowe? Now, after the game against Lecce, I gave Allegri some grace and I was like, listen, maybe, just maybe, Allegri is waiting to have the final camp at his disposal. He knows who's been brought in and he knows who's gone. And now he's got himself 25, 26, 27 players to rely upon. And those are the players that he will assess and those are the players that he will pick from to deploy his Milan team. It might be the 3-5-2. It might be the 4-2-3-1. It might be the 4-3-3. It might be the 4-4-2. You might be the 4-1-2-1-2 diamond. We don't know. But now it's over. The transfer window has ended. Milan have had themselves a very busy final few days of the transfer window. Some players have left, some players have come in. After the international break, some players are coming back from injury. So, your best friend, Haj, is about to propose 4 different formations to every single one of you guys. And I want you to tell me which one is your favorite. Now, before everything, you know the drill. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. Let's get into it. Now, the first formation, the 3-5-2. Now, this is the 3-5-2 that we've seen so far against Cremonese and against Lecce. I'll be the first person to put up my hand and say the first thing in this 3-5-2 which stinks is the midfield. Modric has a regista, progressing play to people like Fofana and Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Fofana and Ruben Loftus-Cheek, yes, they bring an element of physicality. Yes, they're tenacious. Yes, they're aggressive. When they receive the ball in the final third, where now it's their turn to play make for the attacking players, they can't do it. They waste a lot of opportunities. Both of them are not good enough to be starters for Milan. Modric, for me, has been amazing in that regista role, but the fact that I know there's somebody like Richie on the bench who can do that role, why not swap him around with Modric? Richie as the 6 and allow Modric to play a bit more advanced, where Modric can now play make. Now, if Allegri comes out after the international break and says, listen, I don't care about who you signed and I don't care about who you sold. I'm sticking to the notorious 3-5-2. That's my way of playing. This is the 3-5-2 that probably makes the most sense in his eyes. Richie as the 6th, then you've got Modric to the left of him where he can play as this dynamic box-to-box, more of an advanced playmaker. To the right of him, somebody like Rabiot. He brings steel, he brings experience, he brings technical ability. Listen, there's also another thing I found out about Rabiot. I don't know if it's true, but if it is, I'm very, 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 very worried. Apparently, Rabiot and Nkunku are being paid the same amount as somebody like Rafa Leao. They're both being paid 5 million a season. If that is the case, then Rabiot hasn't come to sit on the bench. Rabiot has come to start. You're not paying a dude 5 million to sit on the bench. This is the 3-5-2 that I could see Allegri going in. And yes, the other thing that stands out, in attack, Pulisic and Rafa Leao. One part of me truly believes Santi Jimenez, I feel like Santi Jimenez has to climb a mountain. Santi Jimenez has to climb Mount Everest to stand any chance of playing for Allegri this season. I don't know what it is. I'll be completely honest with you guys. Like, I'm looking at towards the end of the transfer window, from Milan being desperate to letting him go, and then Santi Jimenez is chatting to his agent, and his agent is calling Tare, and she's calling the Milan board and telling them, no, Jimenez is staying. I just feel like for whatever reason, Allegri doesn't favour Jimenez. He favours Rafa Leao more as a striker. And with Christian Pulisic, you can't drop him. You can't drop him to the bench. Goals, dynamism, assists. I could seriously see Allegri going with that front 2 in his 3-5-2. Now, the second formation is a formation that Allegri has never ever deployed throughout his managerial career. And it's the 3-4-3 / the 3-4-2-1. Whichever one you like. Let's just say the 3-4-3. Now, this is how I would set up Milan. And in my opinion, this is the one that truly makes the most sense. Like, this is the one that would excite me the most. Now, very similar to what I said about Rabiot. Reports are also suggesting that Nkunku has put pen to paper for 5 million a season. Very similar to Rafa Leao. You don't pay 35-40 million for somebody like Nkunku and make him your highest earner at the club to keep him on the bench. And because of that, I look at Nkunku, I look at Rabiot, and I say, you guys are going to be starters. You guys are going to be starters. This is the 3-4-3 for me, which makes a lot of sense. And like I said, many of you guys might put Santi Jimenez as the striker. I just feel like Santi Jimenez is so low in the pecking order when it comes to Allegri that there's only really one formation that I could see Santi Jimenez starting in. In this dynamic 3-4-3, I could truly see Allegri going with Nkunku on the left, Leao up front, and somebody like Pulisic on the right-hand side. Now, of course, all three of them can interchange with one another, so you never know. Maybe in one game, it's Nkunku down the middle, Rafa Leao down the left-hand side. Very similar to PSG's attack of Dembele, Kvaratskhelia, Desiree Doué. Every 20, 25 minutes, they're changing. Kvaratskhelia on the left, then he's on the right, then he's in the middle, then Dembele is on the left. Maybe that's what Allegri wants, but I feel like this is the only way to fit. Like, this is the only way to fit those three players on the pitch while still sticking to Allegri's three-man back line. If you want to fit all of those three players on the pitch, you have to move away from the back three. And this is the only way it works. I would love to see the 3-4-3. I don't know. Like, a formation that Allegri's never ever deployed, I can't see him rolling the dice this year and going with the 3-4-3. Now, this is the formation where Santi Giménez actually stands a solid chance of starting. The 4-2-3-1. As you can see, Giménez leading the line. Behind him, Nkunku, Leao, Pulisic. Behind them, Modric and Rabiot. And then the back four, feel free to pick and choose. Now, I'm very sorry to burst your bubble. I don't think Allegri switches to the 4-2-3-1. Mainly because I don't think Milan have the best of backlines to play with four at the back. I don't think so. I truly don't think so. I think, one, Allegri loves the back three. But two, with a back three, you have a bit more security. You have three centre-halves, especially when you bear in mind Salamakers, Estupinian, they're very offensive-minded. You're then leaving just two centre-backs. And fair enough, Modric chips in, but Modric is 39. He's not chipping in as much as somebody else. Rabiot can help, but you're leaving yourself very, very, very vulnerable. Like, if you said to me, 4-2-3-1, Leao, Pulisic, and Nkunku and Santi Giménez were pressing animals, I'd be like, fair enough. Maybe, just maybe, Milan will contain the opposition with their high press. Milan, from what I've seen under Allegri so far, they don't really press. They're more than happy to sit back. And because of that, I don't think the 4-2-3-1 is an option this season at Milan. But if he was to do it, this is a great 4-2-3-1. This is a very offensive-minded 4-2-3-1. Playing on the front foot. Everybody in their favoured position. There's a lot of goals. There's a lot of creativity. You're fielding so many attackers. But I don't know. When it comes to Allegri, I truly don't think the 4-2-3-1 is part of his plans. Now the final formation. Let's see who's a real Milan fan. Let's see who's a real Milan fan. It will show your age. When Milan won the Scudetto in 2011, they started off the season with one formation. And after a few games, they changed it to another. In particular, the game against Bari. Allegri started that season, the 2010-2011, with the 4-3-3. Approaching the game against Bari, he changed it. He changed it to a 4-3-1-2. Now, that is a formation that's not deployed that much across the world. The 4-3-1-2, he went with Zlatan and Robinho leading the line in attack. The fact that Allegri's familiar with this, the fact that Allegri's tasted success with this, it highlights to me Allegri always loves to have three in midfield. He loves to have three in midfield. The 3-5-2, he has three in midfield. The 4-3-1-2, he has three in midfield. The 4-3-3 that we saw at Juve, three in midfield. He loves a three-man midfield. And that's why, like, it backs me in a sense when I say I don't think the 4-2-3-1 is something that he will deploy, even though he's deployed it. Let's just say he goes 4-3-1-2. This is the 4-3-1-2 that for me makes the most sense once again. Very similar. I would love to see Santi Giménez in that two-man attack, but I just feel like everything that I've read, everything that I've seen, I don't think Giménez is part of Allegri's plans, and he's genuinely going to have to climb a mountain. He's going to have to go through 50 brick walls to force his way into his plans. Because of that, I have Nkunku as the roaming number 10, and then I have Pulisic and Rafa Leao leading the line, with the three-man midfield, Richie being the one that sits, Rabiot on the right-hand side, and Modric. Don't get me wrong, this would be nice to see, mainly because it's not a formation that's deployed much across the world. Once again, it allows him to field Nkunku, Pulisic, and Leao on the field, in addition to Richie, Modric, Rabiot. I haven't included Yashari in any single one of these teams because he's out for about 2 to 3 months. The 4-3-1-2 will definitely be nice. It will definitely be a different dimension of play because it's not a formation deployed much across the world, but it is a formation that Allegri tasted success with in 2011. I don't know, like, out of all of them, out of every single one of them, the one that makes the most sense to me is probably the 3-4-3. But the problem that I have with the 3-4-3, and it's mainly my problem with Leao leading the line. As much as I love Leao leading the line, I feel like coming up against low blocks, Milan might struggle because he's not that much of a focal point. Even though he's been tremendous, The problem is, I don't think Santi Jimenez is also of a focal point. Like, if Leao is to continue playing as a 9, whether it's in the 3-5-2, whether it's in the 4-2-3-1, whether it's in the 3-4-3, Leao this year is going to have to develop a lot. He's going to have to rewire his entire game, like reprogram himself to become this 9. Because the way you play as a 9 is very different to the way you play as a wide player. If Santi Jimenez is included, it changes a lot of things. And that's why I'm counting down the days for the game against Bologna, because I really want to see what the plan is, who the players are, who he favours and who he doesn't. But with Santi Jimenez, I feel genuinely sorry for him, because the fact that Milan were so desperate to let him go, and the fact that Milan were even thinking of somebody like Dovbyk, who in my opinion is nothing special, it tells you they were desperate to let go of Jimenez and bring in a different profile for somebody like Allegri. Because of that, I struggle to include him in my teams. Now it's your turn. Tell me which one you like. Maybe it's a formation that I haven't even mentioned. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys on another one.